Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about activities that you can do during the winter months to get ready for your spring garden and plan for the summer garden as well. If you can't hear it, good, but we're having a crazy windy storm today, and it's been raining on and off, and we're expecting maybe a little bit of snow later this week. So winter is definitely in full force, and sometimes the gray days can just get to you, and I know all too well about the winter blues. And so I like to plan my garden, especially in January, because it just gets me inspired. When I'm looking at old photos of my garden, or if I'm reading a book, or if I'm on Instagram, it just helps get rid of those winter blues a little bit when I'm planning the upcoming growing season. And so I wanted to share some ideas with you today of activities that you can do to prepare for the upcoming gardening season. So the first thing, it's very apropos, is to get inspired. And I get inspired by many different things. Actually, in the beginning of December, I was really having a hard time with the festive season, so I actually went online to my our local library website, and put a whole bunch of gardening books on hold. And I haven't checked out a book in a really long time, but I like to go to the library every now and then to do some work. And so I'm like, why don't I use this free resource? And so I checked out a whole bunch of gardening books. And so I've been flipping through those and getting inspired for the upcoming garden. But I also have a treasure trove in my own phone of pictures and video of last year's garden, and that has really been helping to spark creativity and inspiration for what I want to grow and how much I want to grow next season. I also have my gardening Instagram. It's at so.little.time, and it's linked in the description box below. But for that account, when I first set it up, I'm like, I only want to follow creative accounts and gardening stuff. I don't want any health or any celebrity things to follow on there. I just want it to be creative people on Instagram and getting inspiration from them. And a lot of them are gardeners and garden educators. And so I get a lot of inspiration from that. And I also this year set up a My Dream Garden board on my Instagram page. And so it's personal to me. It's like a locked one, so no one can see it. So I just go on there and I search for garden things and pin what inspires me, and ideas that I maybe want to implement in my garden, if not this year, maybe in years to come. So there's just a lot of ways that you can go and get inspired. And if you have never started to garden, I urge you to go look for accounts on Instagram that spark joy for you. Check out books from your library, go online, just Google gardens. And I find looking at pictures, or there's a lot of gardeners on YouTube as well. I just find that it's just gets me really inspired and helps me forget about the cold, gray, windy day outside. The next activity that I encourage you to do, which will be so helpful for future gardens as well as your garden this year, is to start a gardening journal. And I've been toying around with the idea of a garden journal for a few years, but last year was really the year that I actually utilized it, and I still didn't utilize it in the way that I want to. So this year I'm starting fresh, and I have a lot of ideas for things that I want in my garden journal. I have a lot of space for notes and everything. This is mine, and I just used an old bullet journal that I had on hand, and I have my gardening goals on this front page so that I can look at it and reference it as often as I want to. I have a list of things that I want to grow here, like flowers and vegetables and herbs, And then up here I just transferred notes from my other gardening journal that I had last year, which as you can see is not very much. So this year I want pages of notes. I want to keep track of a lot more things. And then I have started, so I set up my, my thing for my seed starting. I'm going to be doing that this week, and I did a rough sketch of my backyard so that, and then I've divided it into growing zones with the letters, as you can see, so that will help me when I start deciding where I want to grow things. And then I'm keeping track of all the gardening books that I'm reading, and then I have garden projects that I want to do. And I'm gonna just list those here and list more ideas here. And then I have two pages marked because I have a seed starting tracker. I'll link it below. I'll link my Etsy shop below, and you can go purchase my seed starting tracker. But I'm gonna print that out, and I'm gonna just put it on these pages. You don't have to have a seed starting tracker. You can draw one on your own, but I think the one that I made is pretty awesome, and it's already made for you. You just have to plug in all the information. And then the next is just 2 pages for more gardening notes. Like I was using to take notes when I was looking through a few of the books of things that I want to focus on and whatnot. And I have a ton more of this journal to go, so I just want to fill up as much of it as possible. And it was really fun to set up. It doesn't have to be pretty like this, or, I mean, this isn't even that pretty. It's super simple. You don't have to add color. You could even use a piece of paper and do all this, but it's just fun. It was fun to set up, and it really helped get my creative juices flowing in regards to what I want for the garden this year. The next task would be to actually make your plan. So if you haven't gone, you're making your garden journal, and this is the time. So like, set your gardening goals. Are there projects that you want to tackle this year? Are there different varieties of vegetables that you want to grow this year? Or do you want to grow more this year? Do you want to grow less this year? Do you want to turn your garden into your favorite place to be at your house? Do you want to add more pots? Do you want to try and do more vertical gardening? It's goals like that that will help you in this planning process. And then what I like to do is I like to go through and sort through my seeds. What do I have on hand? What do I want to what vegetables do I want to grow that I need to purchase more seeds for? What flowers do I want to grow? Do I want to look for different varieties of flowers? Do I want to get some tubers? Do I want to grow 5 types of zucchini like I did last year? So go through those seeds, make a plan, like what do you want to grow more of? What do you want to kind of use up this year? And what seeds do you need to purchase? So for me, this year I really want to grow pumpkins, and I have some pumpkin seeds. I have some jack-o'-lantern seeds, but those really aren't the type of pumpkins that I want to grow. I want to grow more for like decoration purposes. So we had a few pumpkins that we bought and I've had on the front porch during the fall. And so when I went to go compost those, I took some seeds from them. So I'll be trying to grow those, and I think I'm gonna try and get some small pumpkin seeds. I want those little, I think they're called Jack B. Littles. They're just the little cute pumpkins, and try and grow my own fall decor. So that was a goal that I set, and then now, as I'm starting through my seeds, I know that I do want to purchase those, and then also what I'm thinking about when I'm deciding what to grow is where in my backyard that I want to grow them. And as you saw in my journal, I did like a rough sketch of the backyard and labeled my different growing zones, or my growing areas, I call them zones, with letters. And so I'll just decide where each plant is going to go. And I know, because I've been gardening in this backyard for several years now, I know where the best sun is and where partial shade is, so that'd be good for, you know, the leafy greens and that kind of thing. And I also think about like my crop rotation, and where I had like tomatoes last year, I kind of want to I don't want to put tomatoes there again, even though they did thrive. But I'm going to be switching out a few plants in different areas to see if I can get them to grow a little better. But yeah, make a plan and get those creative juices flowing. Like, I do like to, while I'm starting to plan, I actually have like gardening books up, or I have a gardening video in the background, or I have pictures on my phone up of my garden last year, and it just really helps the planning process. And I find it so fun. I love to plan. Making lists is one of my favorite things to do. So it's, yeah, it really helps with the creativity and the inspiration for the gardening season ahead. The next activity I recommend is going through and inventorying all of your gardening tools. We're really hard on our gardening tools throughout the spring and summer months, and so it's a really good time to see, oh, do these clippers need sharpening? Do they actually need to be replaced? What do the handles of my shovels look like? What do my little spades look like? Do I need more gardening gloves? Has my knee pillow seen better days? This is the perfect time of year to think about things like that. So then when gardening items start to arrive in stores, you'll know what you need and you can go pick those up. Or you can take things to go get sharpened, or you can take things to go get repaired. Wintertime is a great time to do all that because you really don't need them. And we actually did this in the fall this year. We were cleaning out our shed after it just looked terrible. After the summer, it was full of things, full of trash and things that needed to be thrown out. And so we went through and we cleaned out the shed and we looked at all the tools. We got a lot of tools from my dad this year after he moved out of his house. So we don't really need anything, but if we did, we would have known at that time, you know, what we needed. Or, I mean, we do have clippers that need to be sharpened, but that is something that I think we can do on our own. Or we can just take them in and have them sharpened professionally. But yeah, great time because we don't need them, and when we will need them, they'll be in perfect working order. The next task that you can do during the winter months is to get your soil tested. And my husband bought this like at-home soil test kit that we haven't used yet, so I am going to use that this year. But I did see that our community has a program where you can submit 5 samples for free of soil from your garden, and they'll test it for you. And this will just help you figure out what amendments the soil needs so that you're not over amending or under amending, and your spring plants will surely thank you for figuring out what they need ahead of time before they're planted out. And the last thing that I recommend is getting out and cleaning out your beds and your pots and getting everything mulched and ready to plant in the spring. On a day like this where it's windy and cold, it's like a daunting task. That seems like a daunting task. Like, why would anyone want to go out? But luckily here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a lot of nice and sunny days during the winter too, and those are perfect days to get outside and just get a few gardening chores done. We have a parsley plant, and I'm not certain if it's going to survive the really cold temperatures that are coming up this weekend. So I might go out there and harvest a little bit so I can put it in the fridge in a little mason jar of water so we can have some fresh parsley before. I don't know if it'll survive that, but yeah, it's pretty clean out there. I did my beds mostly in the fall, and I mulched with leaves this year. One of my beds actually, it looks like a lot of the leaves have been blown out, so that's not ideal. But I can get out there. I know where I like raked some leaves into another garden bed, so I'll probably just get some from there and put them in the bed that looks like all the leaves were blown out of. But yeah, if you can get out there and get stuff cleaned up, you'll thank your winter self in the spring when you start to want to get out there and plant things out, and you won't have to do as much maintenance when that time comes. And that's it for this video. I have a blog post with all of this information in it as well, and I'll link that down in the description box below, along with my Etsy shop where you can find the seed starting tracker. And also I have a really fun cat bandanas on there if you need a bandana for your furry friend. Or I think I have another tracker up there as well, that I think it's for transplanting seeds, that you can view as well and get if that'll help you in your gardening endeavors this year. If you like this video, I'd love it if you would give it a thumbs up because it really supports the channel. And if you haven't already, please subscribe because I have tons more gardening content coming up this year. I'm really excited. I've been planning since the beginning of December when I checked out all those gardening books. So I'm really excited to bring you along with all of that. And yeah, I hope that you're having a great day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.